Welcome everyone to this tutorial series on data visualization using Python. So for the first few videos of this series, I'll be using the Matplotlib library, and then we'll be moving on to Seaborn and Plotly and so on. So let's start by installing Matplotlib into your system. So just go to your command line or your terminal and run pip install matplotlib, and if you're using the Anaconda distribution of Python, type conda install matplotlib. So hopefully that installs the library into your system. Then let's start by importing matplotlib.pyplot as plt, and if you're using Jupyter Notebook like me, you may want to run this command as well, matplotlib inline. So this allows me to view my Matplotlib plots inside the Jupyter Notebook. So if I was using any other IDE than Jupyter Notebook, I'd had to be using plt.so after every plot. I'll explain that later on too, so don't worry. Now let me start off by creating my data to be plotted on my Matplotlib plots. So let me create x equals to np.arange, and let the starting value be 0 and the stopping value be 10. Then if I run that and I show you x, then it's a numpy array starting from 0 and has an end value of 9. So the np.arange function takes a start value and a stop value. So the stop value is actually excluded, so keep that in mind. And if you want to learn more about the numpy functions or the numpy arrays, just visit my numpy crash course and you'll get more familiarized with it. So now let's move on. So let me create another numpy array with the elements of x squared. So if I run this, you can see that I've got another array where all the elements have been raised to the power of 2. Now let's use the functional method of creating a plot in Matplotlib. So it's quite simple. You can just call the plt.plot function and then supply your x-axis data and your y-axis data, where the data are x and y, and then you can also provide some formatting for the color and the line styles. So if you're using MATLAB, I think you're familiar with it. So let me run this. So here you go, we get the plot x comma y, and it's and the line color is red and dash. So if I wasn't using Jupyter Notebook, I would have to be calling plt.show after that line to show the actual plot. So if you're using any IDEs other than Jupyter Notebook, run plt.show and that will work for you. So for now, I'm going to be removing plt.show. And if we want to keep some x-axis labels as well as y-axis labels and maybe the title of the plot, we can call these functions respectively. So for the x label, I'm going to be calling the x label function and then passing suppose x label as the name. Then for the y-axis label, I'm going to be calling y label and then passing y label as the name. And then for the title, I can just call plt.title and let title be our title name. So if I run this, I get the strings situated located in the positions where they should be. So we can change the font of the title and x label, y label later on. I'll be discussing about this, so maybe in another video. So let's do a multiplot in Matplotlib. So this is not that common to do in real life, so but also I'll be explaining about how to do a multiplot using Matplotlib's functional method. So let me create a subplot, and in Jupyter Notebook you don't actually get what the arguments and quarks are, so I'll be explaining that. So first I'll be supplying in the number of rows 1, the number of columns 2, and the plot that I'm referring from the rows and columns. So for this I'll be keeping as 1. You'll understand this it a little better when I write the whole code down. So let me plot my x and y with a color of red in this subplot, and then let me create another subplot with the same number of rows, same number of columns, but I'm going to be referring to the second plot over here. So I think that makes a little bit sense. So plt.plot y comma x, and let me give it a value of b. So I'm plotting in the x-axis y values, and in the y-axis the x values. So if I run this, I'll get two plots. So the first plot with the red line is actually the first subplot that we had called, and the second plot is this subplot. So this is how you can create multiplots by using the functional method in a Matplotlib plot. So instead of this, what we're actually going to be using is the object oriented method, where it goes something like this. So let me give you an example. So let me call an object plt.figure and save it in my fig variable. So if I run this, you can see that it is a matplotlib.figure object. So now in the same code block, what I can do is type out access equals to fig.add access. So and then I'll have to provide in a list. So this list is basically containing 4 elements. So the first element is the margin from the left side of the plot. So you'll understand this a bit later, so just be patient for now. So then this is for the bottom margin, and this is for the width, and this is for the height. So I'll be keeping these values for those purposes, and then if I run this, you can see that I get a plot plotted out without any actual data in it. So now if I want to plot on this, I can just call access.plot and then provide my x and y numpy arrays. Then if I run this, you can see that it has been plotted out in this chart. So if I want to put the x level, y levels as before, what I can do is on the axis variable, which over here is the axis variable. So if I call set underscore x label, I can put the x label as suppose this one, and then I can use set underscore y label to put the y label. So let me write that down, and for the title I can just call set underscore title. So and let me provide it in a string for the name of my title. So if I run this now, you can see that I've got it plotted out using the object oriented method, where plt.figure is calling the object. So now let's do some subplots in using the object oriented method, and this is more commonly used than the one that we have done before. So let me first call fig equals to plt dot figure, and let me call my new axis as axis1 equals to fig dot add underscore axis. So for this I'm going to be providing the same values. So from the left 0.1, from the bottom 0.1, from the width of the canvas, so 0.8, and the width and the height of the canvas 0.8. So I can create another plot by just creating another axis. So axis2 equals to fig dot add axis, and then let me put the values as 0.2 from the left, 0.4 from the right, from the bottom. So bottom is actually over here, the 0 point in the plot. So then the width of the canvas, and then the height of the canvas. So if I put this and then I plot my data in axis1 as axis1 dot plot x comma y, and axis2 dot plot y comma x. So if I run this, you can see that I've got my subplot within the entire plot. So I think you'll get a little bit clear. You'll get a little bit clearer about what these values actually mean. So at 0, 0, it is our starting point. So from there, 0.2 is this size we want to go towards the left. So we're leaving a margin of 0.2 at the left of the chart, and then from the bottom we're raising up the chart by 0.4%, which is 40%. So we're going up by 40%, and there we are having a canvas width of 40% and a canvas height of 30%. So I can play around with these numbers to show you what I mean. So if I put suppose 4 over here, you can see the chart goes a little bit towards to the right, because 40% margin has been given for the chart towards the left. And if I put 0.2 over here, so if I run this, you can see that the chart goes down as the bottom margin has been decreased to 20%. So I hope you get a better understanding of this. So let me try putting my chart right at the bottom right corner of the plot. So for this, let me try putting this as 0. Maybe 8, then 0.15 for the bottom, and 0.4 and 0.3 as same. So if I run this, so oops, it went a little bit out. Let me try putting this as 5. So there you go. That's how you control the subplot in the Matplotlib. So for now, I'm just gonna be leaving this at 0.2, and then this value at 0.5. So now if I want to put the uh, title or the X level or Y level, I can do the same as I did above over here. So let me put the title for both of the plots. So axis 1 dot set underscore title, and then maybe this is larger, and axis 2 dot set underscore title, this is smaller. So as explained before, if you're not using Jupyter Notebook, you'll have to call plt.show to see your graph, but I'm using Jupyter Notebook, so I'll just run this. Now if I run this, you can see that the title have been plotted out. So similarly, you can plot the X level and Y level as well. So I'll stop at this much for now, and in the later videos I'll be covering much more in depth about the Matplotlib library. So if you guys want to follow along, just subscribe, and if you have any questions, just write it out in the comment sections, and then I'll reply to them. So yeah, that's it for now. Ta-da!